in there on trap outs and swarm catching. Of course, once you go there, then you're going to find umpteen dozen other leads to other sites, and that's basically what I did when I got started. After being told that I would never catch any feral swarms, I set out to prove everybody wrong, and glad I did. Winter time, when everything's going slow, is the time to dig in and do your research and get your equipment and stuff ready. But I started out with 2 hives. That's the end of the beginning of my 2nd year. That was after I started setting some swarm traps. These 2 trailers you see right here was halfway through my 2nd year. That was the end of my 2nd year. The first year that I started setting swarm traps caught 34 swarms. The 2nd year caught 26. The 3rd year I caught 26. By then I had so many hives that I paired up with Jerry Flanagan, if any of y'all know that name. We started doing commercial beekeeping because when you get past about 20 hives, it's expensive. You got to put them girls to work. So that's what we did. And then I got so busy with commercial beekeeping and making splits and doing things with that I'll be honest with you, I kind of got a little negligent on checking my swarm traps. I was telling Jeremy that I had one that what I do is I leave them where I set them, and I'll show you that in a minute. I leave them there so that other people don't find my places and stick a box in there before I get back next spring. So once you get permission to set your boxes wherever you're going to set them, go ahead and practice that. Because this thing has really taken off since I started catching swarms. There are a lot of people out there setting swarm traps now. So, but anyhow, let me get on with this thing. That was the end of my 2nd year. Locations. How many of y'all think you got to go 15 foot in a tree? I'm too old to heal after a fall like that. At nighttime, with a box of bees on my shoulder. I don't use ladders. Everything I do is set down like this, and it goes against what most people will tell you. If you'll notice, every one of those I can get to flat-footed without ladder. This one right here will fool you. I've got a box set right there in that barn. I think there's a picture of it. But just inside that door, there's a stairs that goes up, so no ladder. People say, I caught you. You use a ladder for that one, but I don't. It doesn't have to be a pretty place. It just has to be an old wooden house. And I don't know why, but it just draws bees. I guess they can find all those little nooks and crannies and hollowed out places in the walls because there's no insulation in a bunch of these old houses. And it just seems to draw. That's where I've got all of mine set. This is what you want to see whenever you go to check. Now, Brother in the back's got a box that's made perfect for setting on the side of the tree. That's actually a pine tree. You can see a little bit of it right there. Piece of wood on the side of it, like I was telling you, so that will hang straight. Now his is set up where more the way it's close to the tree, which I like, but never thought about doing that. That one right there, I never saw those bees in one of my boxes. So I came back the next day to get that swarm after they had started bringing in pollen. I actually watched that swarm come into the box. And if I had a video of it, you can see the hole right there. It looks like a vacuum cleaner sucking those bees in. And I waited till they were bringing in pollen, went back to get them, and a bear had found probably the only thing left was a piece of wood holding it to the tree and some splinters. And I walked a quarter-mile circle around, and wherever he lived, he took that meal home with him. But that's what you want to see when you're going to it. Now, if you notice, there's only a couple of bees there. When you set these boxes, I'll tell you all, normally I answer all our questions as I'm explaining what I'm doing. Because sometimes I'll say something that doesn't quite register. There's a whole lot of y'all here tonight, and I think the plan is if you got any questions, I'll be in the back of the room. If you got something that you just need to know right now in order to fully understand where I'm at, holler at me, raise your hand, whatever. It will not bother me. But when you see the scouts coming to check, what you'll normally see is something like this. You'll see about a half a dozen bees. they'll land at that entrance and then they'll jump right off. I mean, they don't go in, they just kind of pitch and keep on flying. And they'll circle around for a little while, they'll pitch and they'll leave. When you go to check them, after they move in like this one up here, you'll watch, and instead of them pitching and taking off, they'll right in the hole. They don't even slow down. The guard bees are there, they come right on in. That's when you need to start getting your binoculars out and stuff out. On this previous one right here, I showed you where all mine are at. There's a path right here. You can see my truck, actually my own truck right there. Every place that I've got, I can pull up in my truck and never have to get out of the truck. Now's the time to go and do your yard work. Because you can see how grown up everything is around there. But it's nice and clean right in here because I took a bush axe and cleaned that up in February so that I didn't have to worry about tripping with a box load of bees on my shoulder at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night because I forgot to chop that one root out of the way. Now with poison ivy and stuff like that, it is bad either. But that's something you need to keep in mind too. If you go to, this is another thing you want to write down, Otis. And I'm sure Rob got it. If Ranger's got a Pitt County Otis, you all got one where you can go online and actually find properties, find out who owns them. The last thing I want to do is get shot at. So every one of these boxes is set in a place where I actually call to talk to the owner to get permission. Even if I was going to hang it on the side of the tree in somebody's field, I'd want permission to be on their farm. So keep that in mind, but that's an easy way to do it. Usually you can get an address. Occasionally I have found a phone number, but most of the time you'll find a name and an address and you can look it up in the phone. I guess they still got phone books out there. Google it. But anyhow, that's how I got permission to set these things. This one right here is a homemade box. And I was telling somebody previously that 2 years I didn't catch a thing out of that box. If you'll notice that this is one of the boxes where you say, even if it's something like this, after tonight I have a feeling these will be hot commodities for the ones that want to try catching swarm. The odor, the raggedy, it doesn't make any difference. If it smells like bees and it's had bees in it before, that's what you want. You also want about 40 liters. How many of y'all are seated fans? Been reading Honeybee Democracy and things like that. I'll be honest, I've never read the book, but when you go onto that site that I was telling you about, he's quoted a lot of his ideas and stuff. You don't have to read his book because many people have already read it and they're utilizing some of those ideas. This is the size box that they recommend. Why are bees swarming? Because they're running out of room. And most of the time that means that they're healthy bees. And I hear a lot of people, I wouldn't catch swarms because you bring in diseases and you bring in that. Yeah, occasionally you'll have some that will abscond and maybe try to find them home. Most of the time they swarm because they're strong enough and healthy enough that they're running out of room. They need more space. So if you'll notice on this box right here, these are empty frames. Some people I know, now I'm not going to begin to try to tell y'all this is the only way to do it. There are umpteen dozen different ways to do it. This is what worked for me. I took a lot of different ideas, said, okay, what kind of equipment have I got? What kind of locations can I find? And I utilized all that. And then I tried a few things of my own to make it easier, like drilling that hole right there at a 30-degree angle so that water runs past it instead of funneling into it. There's just a lot of little things that you'll figure out on your own also. So basically, whenever those bees send out scouts, they're going to go in this hole right here and they're going to look around there and say, man, it smells like home. There's plenty of room. And there's even some old dark cones over here that we can get started on. If y'all throw away your old dark cones, you need to start saving them. Put them in sunlight so that the wax moths don't get them. If you'll look at this, there might even be a few little cobweb or wax moths webbing and stuff in here, but basically all the food's gone. That's the main things you don't want to do, is put anything in there that's got any leftover pollen or anything like that would draw insects. Because once they clean it up, then that right there will last for weeks in a house. Or, like I say, I had some in there all year long, and they set up that, I was telling you, I missed that point. I was going to tell you, I did not go and check my hive like I wanted to. I'm going to back up a little bit so I can fill you all in so you ain't wondering, where did he go with that other point? I am a little scatterbrained sometimes, sorry about that. But anyhow, I left that in there, and when I went to get it, when I went to change it out, there were a few bees flying in and out the entrance. I said, well, I already caught a swarm. I ain't even made it that high this year. Put my trap back on the truck. I said, they were bringing in pollen, had yellow marks on the front, they were bringing in so much pollen. And when I went back to get it, I thought it was stuck. It was about 50, 60 pounds full of bees been there all winter long. So you might want to make sure that you check on them, because once they get like that, you got a mess on your hands, because what they'll do is they'll go in here with these hives and these frames, and it doesn't have to be all these. The only reason for these frames is to keep them from building to the top of that lid. And if you put 5 frames in there and leave this side open, this is where they're going to go and build it from that lid. But anyhow, I kind of lost my point there. Where was I? Anybody? Help me out here, throw me a bone. Do what? Yeah, it had 50 pounds of bees in it. And that's why I was going to say, make sure that you check on them. After you see them bringing in pollen, don't leave them there. Say, I'll get to it in a week. But when you've done that, you have messed up. Once they start growing that comb across and they tie 4 or 5 of those frames together, you're just going to have to wait, put another box on top of it, and wait until they move up. Sometimes you'll have to add 2 doubles or 2 deeps to get them to go up far enough that you can get your box back. But anyhow, it can be just as right as going through wax as you can. Use wax to fill in all the little nooks and crannies. And you want to make sure you got it sealed up good enough that when you shut this door, they stay in. Now, if you'll notice, there's also a vent at the bottom. And the reason for that is if you shut this door, you've got a piece of plywood screwed on the bottom, piece of plywood screwed on the top, there ain't going to be no airflow. So if you ain't real quick getting to the house, you're going to be in trouble. So make sure that you put a vent in there. Any questions so far? Yes. Anywhere. Some of these houses are right across the street from big brick homes, and it's just like here. You ride around out in the country, some farmers got a big fancy house, but he's got grandma's old house falling down behind that ain't tore down yet. Ask him. How many of y'all been called to go get swarms hanging in trees? Perfect place to set a swarm trap. If there's a swarm of bees hanging in the tree, that means that there's a bee tree or something somewhere close around there, or a beekeeper that doesn't check his hives like you ought to and let them run out of room. But once they leave that property line, that line of sight, whose bees are they? You know what I mean? I had a guy call me, it was about 2 miles from me. He said, Tim, somebody told me you were setting swarm traps. I said, yeah. He said, well, look, I just had a swarm leave my house and it's heading in your direction. That's no lie. And I asked him, I said, was the queen marked? He said, nope. I said, well, I'll tell you what I was good about it. I told him, I said, I'll check my traps within the area. Because I go over 3 counties. I've got 30-some traps and I cast a wide net. So I told him I would check the ones close by. If there was a swarm in any of them, I'd give it to them, just to satisfy them. And of course there wasn't. But if they had been, I'd have given it to him. But I let him know that, I can't tell where the bees come from. If it's an unmarked queen, it could have been a bee tree just as easy as it is. But my point is, wherever you catch a swarm, is usually a good place to ask the owner, do you mind if I set a swarm trap out back on that old well house? Now one of the reasons I like some of these old houses is because they're nice and protection, and they last a little longer. But I use a 3/8 piece of plywood. That's all it is. That's not treated, and it's held up real well. Sometimes I'll set them and they'll be protected. Sometimes I'll set them and they'll be get rained on every time it rains. But the point is to just make sure that you use all the equipment. Pre-used equipment is the key. I really believe it is. That and the fact that these cones, these frames, if you look, there's still some wax left in there. So if you got some old wired frames, there's a couple of them in here that have actually still got the wire on. The good thing about that is if they started, and I put this over next to the dark cone, because that's where they'll go first. You know, when they swarm, they got a belly full of honey. First thing they do before they get ready to swarm, they put that queen on the dice so she can fly. And they gorge themselves so that whenever they get to where they're going, they can immediately set up housekeeping and start drawing wax. So if you put some frames like this in there that still got the wire on it, once they start on that, you can leave it there. They'll continue. When you move this over into your regular hive, they'll actually embed it in there, and it'll actually be a little bit more solid. I don't like using them unless they got wire, because what's going to happen is you're going to go to check them one day, and you're going to go tilting it to check for brood, and it's going to flat right off and land on your feet, and the bees are going to go everywhere, and it pants leg and everything. So, trap size, we've already talked about. You want something big like that, 2 nukes, a nuke on top of the nuke, stapled together will work. I don't like using anything smaller than that though, because you will lose some swarms. You'll lose some of them. Some of them are big, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You notice there's 2 deep boxes up there? That's my house. This is what it looked like whenever they first started checking it out. For about a week or 2, I had that many bees every day. I said, well, I've got a swarm of bees. That's a likely number of bees. And, but they keep coming every evening. I even climbed up there and looked in there with my light. No bees. And then one day, they came and it looked like that. And it's dark, but that's bees all down on, that's bees hanging all down into here right there. That's my shingles. When they moved in, my wife said, you know, there's bees out back. And I said, well, you know, we've been seeing it. She said, no, there's a lot of bees out there. And it was, I guess you call it super swarm, baby swarm. 2 or 3 of them got together and made one big swarm. Whatever it was, they moved in. And they couldn't get in the box. They were still hanging on the outside, so I had to get this ladder that was 2nd deep. And you can see once I had that 2nd deep, they all went in. If I'd had a nuke box or a smaller box set, I'd have lost that swarm. They might have chose to go there, but with conditions like that, that's probably worse than what they left. So they would turn right around, and before they settled in, they'd be gone. So that's the reason for this size box. All this box is I baited with lemongrass oil. You all will find online all Swarm Commander and everything. I tried queen juice, you know, when I had to pinch the head off the queen or something, I put her in alcohol, and then I'd use a little bit of that alcohol in there. $6. 30-some traps, and it'll last you all summer long, and it's just straight lemongrass oil. I use a straw, about a 2-inch piece of straw, 1.5 to 2 inches. I use cotton from the makeup section at Walmart. Take your little skinny screwdriver, punch that cotton into that straw. This lemongrass oil comes with a little applicator point right in there, just perfect to fit in that straw. Just hold it there until you start seeing it turn dark. Y'all can't see that back there, but I can. It's about like that. I'll do that on both sides. Add a couple of drops on the top of the frame, and that's it. The reason why that straw works so good is because that straw only has 2 open ends. 2 little old tiny open ends is all it's going to allow evaporation to happen from. I've heard people say, oh, you wet that Q-tip, throw a Q-tip in there, whatever. But that's going to soon evaporate. You're going to have to be going back every week or 2 to rebait it. When you're using something like that right there, this is something else you can't see from up there or out there. But there's a rail, metal rail in that box. A lot of boxes, I'll go ahead and actually put 9 frame spacers in. you know, the little metal nail in spacers. The reason why is because when you're walking and you've got those bees, they rattle. They rattle and bang, bang off against you. You know, you use those spacers that holds them in place. You don't have to worry about anything getting rattled around or out of place. You can take this thing right here, drop it right underneath those, right at the back. I like to put it at the back. That way, the whole box feels full of that, and they can even smell it with it on the bottom. I usually take some of that wax. I told you wax was your friend. Just when you get an old frame that you're going to throw away, as long as that wax is still pliable, take it out, put it in a bottle, and put it in the refrigerator or whatever, get it out, thaw it out or whatever, before you get ready to use it. You want it pliable. But one frame will give you enough wax to last for a long time if you don't have a lot of swarm traps. But like I say, I use it to fill up gaps and stuff like that. But I also found that if I take it and I put it right here around the bottom of that hole, it'll hold that lemongrass oil for a long time too. The wax will actually suck it in and hold it. I can set this thing and leave it for a month and come back and it still smell like lemongrass oil. It takes a long time for it to evaporate out of there. So basically, once I set them, it's like running a trot line. If anybody's ever done that fishing, I go ahead and I've got all my route laid out so when I leave the house, I can start at the closest one and make a great big circle pretty much. Sometimes I have to zigzag around depending on where I'm going. But then I run one huge circuit. And I do that once a week and I make a note. I have a book that where it's at, whether it's scout bees, which means come back and check them later. If they're bringing in pollen, it means come back and get them as soon as possible. To keep track of what you're doing. Basically, I can pull up the truck and look at it. If I see bees and I know that they've already moved in, I'm gonna check the pollen. I got a pair of binoculars. I can sit right there and look at that entrance. If they're bringing in pollen, come back and get it. And then what I'll do is I'll keep 3 or 4 or 5 extras, spares. I'll put them on the back of the truck. I go around. I'll take one and leave one. And the reason why is that, believe it or not, I have a half a dozen times caught the swarm the very next day. Evidently, several bee trees in the area, they're all looking for somewhere for a home. And they've all probably found this swarm trap in that area. And on the day that they happen to be swarming, if those bees ain't in there, the next ones move in. I had a friend of mine had one like I was telling you, the farmer had a house out beside his house. It belonged to his grandmother. And I told him, I said, I'm coming to get those bees, because he was pretty good about telling me. He said, look, you got bees in that box. Well, I told him, I said, yeah, they've got pollen coming in, I'm going to come and get them tonight. The next day he called me and said, I thought you was coming to get your bees. I said, I did. He said, well, it's full of bees again. And that's happened several times. So when you take one, leave one till you think the season is too late for you to be able to keep them alive through winter. And then you'd be better off to go ahead and just close the door on the front of the box or something if you don't want to mess with them now. I have caught them as early as the first week of March. And I have caught them as late as September. Not saying that I couldn't have caught more after September, depending on the weather some years, but I normally don't like messing with them after that. It's too much of a battle. I don't have time to bathe it. Any questions so far? Yes.
How far apart do you put the traps, and would it make sense to put 2 of the same location?
I have had times when I thought maybe, because I had caught 3 or 4 swarms out of one area, that I could put one in the front window and one in the back window. Never catch it. I have caught them in the same spot in the trap the next day, but I've never had them hit 2 boxes in one house. Now I've had people say, well, can I just put them right outside my bee yard? I think all the evidence is against it being your bees you're going to catch that close to your bee yard. Because instinctively, they are going to try to get away from that mother hive so that there's not competition. So if you'll read those websites that I was telling you, or Sealy, or any of them, they'll tell you, I think it's a quarter to a half a mile that they recommend that you set a swarm trap away from your own yard. Because they're going to send out scout bees and they're not going to be looking next door. They're going to be trying to get away from that mother hive. So, but that doesn't mean, look, this right here, until my little dog got stung like that, and then I moved them all away from the house. They're all outdoors now. But that was only 300 foot from my bee yard. And that's where I showed you the one where they were all in a line within sight of that box. And I had just been in all my hives the day before. So I knew it wasn't in your mind. Now, there was at the time a good sized beekeeper about 2 miles away. He didn't call me. So there's my business. But any more questions? All right, let's move along. How's my time looking, brother? All right. This is what you do not want to see, and this is a prime reason for cleaning up your area before you set your swarm box. That rascal was about 5.5, 6 foot long and would not back down. I was bebopping up there because I saw the bees there in the box, and I was just walking right up, and all of a sudden I looked down, and he was sitting there looking at me, and I stomped my foot, and he just looked at me. I finally picked up a stick and popped him on the head before he threw on underneath that house. But now that's no rat snake, but he made me hurt myself as much as a copperhead would have hurt me, you know. But if you notice, there's some wood laying down there. I didn't do a proper job of cleaning that up. But now's the time to do it. Go in, clean up your brush, clean up your boards. Seeing a snake or stepping on a nail, either one of them's going to make you hurt yourself, especially if you've got a box of bees on your shoulder. So just clean up and prepare. There's that yard within sight of where that's. Now, right over here is what I wanted to show you on this slide. That box, you know, it's got bees in it. I took it, picked it up from one of the sites where I had my trap set. And what I do is I bring it back to wherever I'm going to leave it. So if you catch a swarm, you know what stand you want to put it on, you know how you want to lay out your yard. Set it where you want it. Leave it there for about 2 or 3 days or a week. Let them acclimate, get used to where they're at. You don't want to wait too long, because remember, they'll barcomb all this stuff together and you won't never get them out. If you get it right after they move in and start drawing wax, you'll still be able to take them out of frame at the time to transfer them over. What I do is I set it, if this was that stand right there, I would leave it there. When I got ready, I would get my new hive, or my hive that I wanted them to be permanently in. I would move this right here, set that new hive right in that same spot. And so what's important on that? Well, you got field bees coming and going during the daytime when you're out there working. Whatever that box is setting, is where they're going to come back to. So while you're actually transferring things, you've got field bees coming back into that new box too. By the time you get finished, basically all you're going to have to do is take this box, turn it upside down, and bump it one time to get all the bees in there that's supposed to be in there. Then you can take this concentrate on reset. Any questions about that? All right. That is that's basically why I do it that way. And like I say, I don't have that yard set up anymore. But if you'll notice, there's spaces. I left spaces so that whenever I got ready to put a new hive there, that I already had a place to set, to slide it and set the new. Let's see here. That's trap lights. No, we don't want to go there. Any questions about anything you've seen so far? I've tried to move along, make sure that I didn't take too long, but if we got questions, there's time for questions now.
A second ago, you said when you reset the box, do you have to do anything after you reset the box?
Once I get this moved out, this swarm moved into a permanent box, then I go to working on rebaiting this one. What'll happen is you'll have the old dark comb will be the first thing that they start putting their honey in. They'll start offloading some of that honey that they've got that they swarmed with, and the queen will start laying. And they'll immediately start drawing wax from here. I always try to leave a little bit of wax up here to give them something to start with. Some people will use starter strips, take a fresh piece of wax, put about an inch strip and put it in there. But you probably end up having to move 2 or 3, maybe frames. if you don't wait too long. It will amaze you how fast a swarm will set up housekeeping and have this thing rolling within 2 or 3 weeks. You'll think it's just a good strong hive or a good hive that hadn't got really strong yet. They move like gangbusters. They're excellent. If you want to make honey, they are just, whenever they swarm like that, they are ready to get on the ball with whatever it is you decide to do with it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it looks like you used to secure the bottom board. What do you do to the top?
I'm sorry?
For the top, how do you secure the top and then the bottom? It looks like you just use screws.
Just screws. That's it. I use these little Phillips head screws. If I do trip, once I go and get these bees, first thing I do, I'll go at nighttime. If you'll notice, I got my flashlight. That's the only flashlight. If you carry a big white flashlight, they're going to meet you. Because most of the time it's going to be a summer night, it's going to be warm, they're going to be hanging all out on the porch, and whenever strangers show up, they will meet you. So use as little light as you can get by with. And that right there, normally what I do is I get just enough to get where I'm going. Then it's just a matter of seconds. I've already got holes pre-drilled here and here. Y'all can't really tell it there, but I left a little lip. My bottom boards that I cut about 3/8 of an inch longer so that I can have that lip. And that way, when I'm in there by myself and I want to shut them up, you can go just as slow as you want to go with that drill. But that little bit of vibrating right there will get their attention. When you shut that, it stops right there. So if I can't reach it good, once I get it shut, then I can reposition or get over that vine that I forgot to chop or whatever. And the hole automatically lines up because I've already done it, pre-drilled it. And then when I do that, I can carry that thing anywhere I want to. And if I trip, I ain't got a bunch of bees all over me. They're going to stay in that box. Screwed on bottom, screwed on top, and I screwed that door shut. They still got ventilation, but not enough to last forever on a good hot summer night. So most of mine, like I say, are within 3 counties, but within 45 minutes to an hour, I can be at wherever I'm going to put them. And what I do is I go ahead and I open that up. They're going to be mean too, so put on your jacket when you do it. Don't think you're going to be quicker than they are by taking that screw out and opening that thing. Before you get it halfway open, your hands done started to slip. So they can feel that vibration. You know how they are right in your house right now. Yeah.
What do you do if they're on the porch when you go to them?
When you look at
If they're hanging out on the porch.
If they're hanging out on the porch, smoke. Okay, you smoke. If you go up there and you hit your little trigger or whatever you decide to do, if you want to use a full-blown flashlight, good luck to you after that. But yeah, once you see how they are, if there's a good number of them had it out, and that does happen frequently, especially if it's a good sized swarm. Just smoke it a little bit and wait a second or two, and they'll go in. Yes.
You have a screen over the vent or what?
I'm sorry.
You have a screen over the vent or what?
Yes. Yeah. I don't. You almost not can see that. But yeah, that's 8-inch hardware call. I tried using string wire like for a window, but if you set this thing down on the ground and it hits a roof, it pops a hole right in it right then. That 8-inch hardware cloth is a lot better. Yes.
Do you face them in a southerly direction?
I've got to face every which direction.
Okay.
When I set that yard up that I showed you earlier, that was my first yard. They all had to be southeast. Now all of our bees are on pallets. They're facing 2 different directions, and we'll set them anywhere we need to set them. And I've caught swarms in deep shadows, and I've caught them in bright sunlight, and any direction, wherever that window is at that I can see from the old path, that's where I put them. Yes.
Do you eventually requeen?
Yes, that's another thing. Now, I say yes, but I usually leave them long enough to find out what temperament they've got. And if they've got a decent temperament, and they do tend to run, the pheromones do tend to run a little hot, Now, that's good you asked that. There are some German bees out there. And are you all familiar with that? That's supposedly some of the original bees of the settlers, some of that genetics, and they're a little black bee, meaner than a handful of rattlesnakes. I caught a swarm of the first 8 or 10 that I caught. I took them and put them in that yard that you see. When I left the house 300 foot away, when I got within 100 foot of them, they were meeting, popping in, bumping. And well, sometimes they land standing first. They don't always bump. But yes, and those were requeened. I actually called my mentor at the time and said, what's the easiest way to kill a hive of bees? And, he said, kill a hive. Why would you want to kill a hive? I said, they're so mean, I can't get to my bee yard. They meet me, they're meaner. I mean, I think they have an 1/8 of an inch longer stinger than any other bee. If they could get through, I don't care, ventilated, non-ventilated, Teflon, they were tough. And he told me, he said, Tim, and it makes perfect sense after you think about it. If you requeen it, every other bee in that box can be dead in 6 weeks or so. And so that's what he told me. He said, just requeen it. If you can wait long enough, they'll eventually, calm down. In 6 weeks, every bee that you're looking at now will be a different bee. And so that's what I did, and it does take care of it. So now, treating, because they're going to be broodless. So whenever you get them, it's a good time to hit them with some oxalic acid or vapor or thiamol or whatever, depending on what time of year you catch it, what the temperature is. Yeah, treat them and requeen them, unless you've got some that are not mean and she's producing real good and they're making honey. And so I have had several of them that I just left alone, and they made 2 or 3 supers of honey and from a swarm. But now remember, I caught some of these swarms in March, beginning of March. But they can make honey. That's how good producers they are. They'll blow up so fast. You put a queen sugar on there and a medium or a shallow, you can make some honey off of swarms, depending on when you catch them. Yes.
It's like that your photographs of the opens, most of them appear to be open with not a lot of trees in front of them, anything like that.
Well, I don't know what I don't think. Yep, if you'll see that right in there and that right in there, all this area was like that. That one right there was growed up just like this right in here, and I cleaned out right there where I could get to the window. Most of them are a lot worse than what I'm actually showing you right here. But no, it just clear out the place. It can be so growed up you can't hardly see the window. Clear where you can and where you can drive in. I've had to clear driveways before and move trees and tree limbs and stuff that have fell in the driveways. I just like being able to pull up, look, and not have to get out unless there's a reason for me to get out. And that works really well. The less work it is, the more fun it is to me. And that's another reason I don't use ladders, because that ain't fun. Yeah. Yes.
When you were getting permission from different people, did you have any problems with them saying anything about liability, or can you pay anything?
I have had them to turn me down, and for that reason. And I went to one nice looking spot, and boy, I was all excited. I said, I'll be sure to catch some bees there. Went and knocked on the door. His wife come to the door. She was about 80 something, probably. And she said, well, I don't think that'd be a problem. Let me go get my husband. He said, no, I don't want to do anybody in that old house. And shut me down real quick. And sometimes they do that because they're worried about liability. And but most of the time, no, they don't care nothing about that old house, and just,
Do you carry any other special insurance to cover yourself?
And we got lawyers in here. I know that may be a stupid move, but I've never had a problem with it. Most people, what I have found is most people are aware of the bee situation. And if you say honeybees and they think they're helping the honeybees, it tickles them to death. And they'll watch your box for you and call. I've had several of them, like I was telling you earlier, that would call and say, hey, you got some bees in your box out there, you know. So it's you know, and I'm gonna be honest with you, and this might be cheating, but a jar of honey sure sweets the pot.